Hey everyone, so today we're going to be doing enumerating Active Directory. So to get started, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and go to this, and we're going to ensure that we download the correct VPN file. And to do so, what you'll do is you'll click on your account profile and you'll go to Access, and we'll let that load. And then from here, what you'll do is you'll go to Network, and since we're doing AD enumeration, make sure that you download this file. So you click Download here. If you're having issues, you can regenerate it here. And to check the status of whether or not you're connected, you can go ahead and validate that here. Now, once you download it, what you're going to want to do is do the usual. Make sure that you run it. I'm pretty sure I have it running here somewhere. It'd probably be the first one I opened, possibly second. Okay, let's check the third. Here it is. So I ran sudo openvpn, the name of the file, and then it ran. And then after that, came over here and I click refresh, and I just made sure it shows online connected. Online means that it gives you your IP address, and those IP addresses will be changed every time you connect. All right, so next thing we're going to want to do is go back to the AD set here and make sure that you have your time going, right? So for me, it looks like, see if I got extend that. You have increase. Okay, so I have an hour and 27 minutes left, and only 2 minutes have been up. So you don't want to spend too long on these labs, otherwise you're gonna have to readjust the settings here. So here we can see that the IP address of the domain controller is 10.256.101. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to open up my DNS configurations, and I'm going to ensure that DNS is resolving the IP addresses properly. And to do that, what I'm going to do, and I'm just going to go ahead and make this a little smaller, put this up here. I'm going to try something I haven't tried in other videos, which is to make the screen a little bit smaller, because I know some people have mentioned it's a little too small, they can't see it. In those cases, what I recommend you do is change the quality of the video, make sure it's at the highest quality, and we'll go ahead and zoom in a little bit here so you can see everything a little bit better, okay? All right, so I'll scroll down here. I'll just go through my commands I ran. Some of the first commands I ran was sudo nano, and I'm opening up the, actually it's this one, sudo nm-connection-editor. I click that, it's gonna ask for my password, so I'll go ahead and enter that. All right, so it opens up your network and connections, and we're going to click on Wire Network 1. And so Wire Network 1, if I go to the IPv4 settings, you can see it has an option here. You can edit your DNS. Now we want to make sure that the DNS is set to the IP address of your domain controller, and that the backup DNS entry is, in this case, Google 8.8.8.8 with a semicolon just between the two. So you're going to separate it actually with the comma. So you separate that with the comma, and then you put the second IP address. Then you click save, and then you close it out, and then it should save it for you. And you can verify that it's actually saved. But the next thing you're going to want to do is you are going to want to restart the service. So you can do that using this command here. This will go ahead and restart the networking service. So I'll click enter here, and then it does so. Now, there is an additional command we're going to want to do, and let me see if I can pull that one up in my previous commands here. I don't need this. X that out. And it's going to be here. So what we're going to want to do here is go into the sudo nano etc resolve config. Okay, so doing this, sudo nano etc resolve config, maybe I could zoom in a little bit there. I'm gonna go ahead and grab this and just put that in there, press enter. Now I'll enter my password. All right, okay. And then once you enter your password, you'll see this here. And so what this is this is generated by the network manager. Now the network manager, in this case, you need to ensure that the IP address of your domain controller here is actually reflected here. And you can see it is at the very top entry, so everything is good to go. What this means is that when I do an NS lookup, everything should be good. So I'm gonna go ahead and do Control X, and I exit that out. And next, what we're gonna do is do a NS lookup. And we're actually going to ping the distributor.com tryhackme. Reason being is we need to get access to that site so that we can generate our credentials that we'll use. And it's going to assume that you've received those credentials, and so you're going to use those credentials throughout the lab. All right, so go ahead and try that. Ping it. And you can see I immediately see an IP address. This is a good sign that everything is working. Give it some time and pings are going through. So now what we can do is we can actually open up our browser. In this case, I'll be using Firefox, and you can navigate to the site. Now, every time you regenerate your lab, you're going to have regenerated credentials. So I'm going to go ahead and just refresh this because I don't know if these are the same credentials I'm using. I'll just go ahead and click Generate Credentials. And when you click Generate Credentials, give it some time. You know, it's going to take some time to generate those credentials for you. All right. Well, let's generate some credentials. I'm just going to go ahead and pull up my notes from the previous lab. All right. I would recommend you use OneNote, take notes on everything that you're doing so that when you do this in the other labs, you know what you're doing and you're not struggling through it. So my previous lab, I can see those are my credentials. In this lab, I can see those credentials have actually changed. These are now my credentials. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take a screenshot of this. And once I take a screenshot, I'm going to save this to this. And I'm going to remove the previous image so I don't get confused. And I'm also going to paste those credentials here for quick reference in case I need them. All right. All right. Now that we have our credentials, we'll go ahead and carry on with the lab. So looking at the lab here, we will be taking a look at AD enumeration. And I'll go ahead and expand this so you can see it all the way. So the network is the continuation of breaching AD networks. Please make sure to complete the network before continuing on with this one. Also make sure that we will discuss AD objects extensively. If you need a refresher, a quick reskim of this room, and you'll be all set for AD. Now, AD enumeration. Once we have the first set of AD credentials and a means to authenticate with them on the network, a whole new world of possibility opens up. We can start enumerating various details about the AD set and structure with authentication access, even super to low privilege access. During a red team engagement, this will usually lead us to being able to perform some kind of privilege escalation or lateral movement to gain additional access until we have sufficient privileges to execute and reach our goals. In most cases, enumeration and exploitation are heavily intertwined. Once an attack path is shown by enumeration phases has been exploited, enumeration is again performed from this new privilege position. All right, so here we see we have initial recon, initial compromise, establish foothold, escalate privileges, internal recon, move laterally, maintain persistence, escalate privileges, and then complete the mission. All right, So here they give you some commands to run if you're using the attack box, and ensure that you change this to the IP address of your AD set. All right. And again, make sure you download the file, run OpenVPN, make sure your connections are good, run these commands to set up your DNS, and then get your credentials. And then after that, you can go ahead and click done on these because you're all good to go. Now we'll go ahead and start with credential injection. All right, credential injection. Before jumping into AD objects and enumeration, or if we'll just talk about credential injection methods for the AD breach network, we have, and I'm going to skim through this. I'm not going to read word for word. This is something I want you to read through. But we have Windows and Linux. I do want to read this. So if you know the enemy and know yourself, you will not fear the results of 100 battles. If you know yourself but not the enemy, for every victory gained, you will also suffer defeat. So you have to know your enemy, and you have to know yourself. All right, so run as is a command that you can use, and it's binary in Windows that you can use to run as another user. Now this is great because if we have someone else's credentials, then it's possible that you can run that command prompt as another user, right? And you don't have to log in as them. And here we're specifying run as, and then the process we want to run as. This is great, and it's always DNS. So I'm going to read this one real quick. These next steps you only need to perform if you use Windows machines for the exercise. However, it's good knowledge to learn how to perform since it may be useful on red team exercise. So if you have a Windows machine that you're compromised, then you can run these. In this case, it looks like they're running a variable here for the DC IP address, get network adapter, name, Ethernet, select objects, and they're using this as a variable to then query set DNS client server address, interface index, and then the interface index is this command here, and then the server address is here. So looks like this will, of course, Ethernet will be whatever interface is connected to the TryHackme network. You verify that DNS is working by running the following. So then you do this, and you can confirm that DNS is working. Now, next, what it looks like they're doing is you should now be able to resolve DC IP address, since that is where the FQDN is being hosted. Now the DNS is working, we can finally test our credentials. We can use the following command to force a network-based listing of the sysvol directory. So sysvol is being hosted via the domain controller, and any computer on the domain can query sysvol and see the policies. It's always good for enumeration because you never know if you find some credentials in the sysvol folder. This sysvol folder just lists the group policy, and for instance, like password policy and stuff like that. By default, it's not going to be vulnerable, but it is vulnerable if sysadmins don't properly scrub it and you have some type of credentials or something of that sort in the sysvol. And so it looks like here we're doing a directory listing of the sysvol here. And so the question it's going to ask us what native Windows binary allows us to inject credentials legitimately into memory. That's going to be run as. It's a binary installed on Windows by default. What parameter option of the run as binary will ensure that the injected credentials are used for all network connections, and that's the net only. What network folder on the domain controller is accessible by any authenticated AD account and stores GPO information? That's going to be sysvol. So sysvol provides a folder which stores all the GPOs, group policy objects. When performing dir, and then you have the name of the DC here, sysvol, what type of authentication is performed by default, and that's going to be Kerberos authentication because it's a domain controller and it uses Kerberos. All right, now let's go ahead and perform this and see what we get. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and use Ramina for these credentials. So if you're not Ramina, recommend you install it. Now, when you're installing stuff on Kali, it's very easy, right? If you try running the program and you don't have it, it's gonna ask you if you want to install it, and then you just say yes, I want to install it, and then it installs it. So that's easy. All right, so go here, and we'll take the username. Actually, the IP address. So we'll see which computer we're using here. We're using the jump, so I'll put in the jump IP address, I believe. 10.256.248. All right, yes. Over here, grab this. All right, grab this. All right, and then let me see if we have domain information. Should be trackme.com. I believe is the domain. I'll put that in there. See if that works. All right, let me check that password again. Okay, I'm gonna just check this real quick. Oh, right, I was able to get in, but let me show you how to do it, because you put your IP address for the jump, and so when you put that IP address there, then you press enter, and then you put in your credentials here. And then for this right here, it's actually za.tryhackme.com. So you got to make sure you get that right. And what you want to do here is, as well is just make sure that you're annotating that so you don't forget that, right? All right, cool. And so if you click OK, then it will go ahead and authenticate you. I'll go and scroll up. I'm gonna make the screen a little bit bigger because, you know, trying to look at windows inside a little screen is not very beneficial to me. So make that bigger. This is a great thing I love about Ramina is that you can actually change the screen and how large it is. So I click this right here, and I can make it a little bit larger. This is pretty nice. Okay. So now that we have that size we want it to be, we'll go ahead and open up a command prompt here. And we'll try the command that they want us to run. So here they provide the command, and you can choose another user if we have the ability to actually authenticate as the other user, or we find AD credentials. Let me see if they provide us with AD credentials. All right, I'll take a look at it. Okay, so it looks like they just want you to try it with the credentials that you have, I guess. Let me take a look here. So Tony.holland. All right, so I guess we'll just use Tony.holland then, and we'll run it as if, let's say you had the administrator credentials, like we'll just pretend that you do, because it doesn't seem like they give you the option to do that. So let me just copy the command, see if I can paste it in. Right there, pasted it in. And now for the user, I'm just going to put in Tony, or actually domain, which is tryhackme.com. CA. Actually, it needs ca.tryhackme.com. And then the username is going to be tony.holland. And obviously, that's me right now, so it doesn't really change. Run it. It's going to ask for the password for Tony Holland. And the password is right here, so I'll just copy it, paste it in. And then you can see it opens up a new command prompt here. So if we have the admin password, we could use admin, and then it would ask for the password, you put it here, and then it would open up a command prompt as admin. And if it was local admin, that would be good too, because then we could run some type of tool like Mimikatz or something to then dump the alsas or dump the password database so we can see those credentials, right? We can not so much see the credentials, but see the hashes of those credentials, NTLM hashes and such. All right, so now that you see the benefit of that, we will continue on here, and they want us to run this command here to allow us to query the domain sysvol file. So, and they're saying in here that when you query the domain sysvol, no matter what account you use, it actually runs it against Kerberos, and actually you can check to see if those are valid credentials that you have. So that's kind of beneficial if you just found some credentials, you want to see if they work, but you don't want to cause too much noise. That's just the way of doing it. And since everyone has access to sysvol, right, then it'll work. All right, so go and click here. Lower the script. I opened up Powershell.exe, and now I'm going to just paste in the command that they gave us there, and I'm going to replace the domain IP address with the domain controller IP address. I'm going to place that IP address there, 10.200.56.101. And that should be good. Ethernet, huh? I think the Ethernet might be a placeholder for something, like the interface, but we'll see. We'll see if it runs. So run it. And then of course the adapter is having some issues, so I'll type ifconfig to see what is that Ethernet. Or ipconfig. Oh my gosh, I've been spending too much time with Linux. All right, so we have only one Ethernet. All right, so we can't really pivot from this one, but it's going to be Ethernet 4. So I think we'll just change that to Ethernet 4. I think that should work. And it's giving us permission denied. So what this tells me is we need to just run this with the higher privileges. So I don't know if that's even possible. We'll check. Right click it, run as admin. Yep, looks like it's running. All right, cool. Although it does say Tony Holland right there, so that tells me Tony Holland is either one, an admin, or it didn't work properly. I guess we'll see. If Tony Holland is the admin, then it should have worked. So we're getting access denied. Maybe I didn't have to input internet, Ethernet. Let me try it again. Index of, okay, let me look at that command one more time. Yeah, so it says that Ethernet should be whatever Ethernet is being used, which is in this case Ethernet 4. Dev name. All right, let's see. It's odd, it's giving me issues with that. Oh, I do get a permission denied here. So it looks like it's not running it as administrator then. Yeah, okay. Okay, I'm not sure if we even need to run this portion, but it's more, it seems more to just break it down for us. Yeah, so what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and move on here. So task 3, enumerate through Microsoft Management Console. So let's see what this is about. So we're going to use the Microsoft Management Console. We're going to start up, start the MMC. All right, and then you're going to which runs MMC normally. If you as a computer, it's not 2020, and our local accounts can't be used to authenticate to the domain. Right, so they kind of set us up here a little bit, so we need to remember what they've told us to do, and that is, and I'll close this out. Actually, I'll leave it open because I don't feel like doing that again. So when you open the MCC, you need to do so using the command run as exe. Remove that command net only, because net only is only if you're in a non-domain joined computer, which this one isn't because this is our jump server. And then the username here, and then you put your username, and then what we want to run is MMC, right? And then you enter your password in there, and it'll actually run MMC. You can also run another CMD, but I ran MMC. So once MMC is open, you do the same exact thing we did earlier, which is file, add, remove, snap in, add these 3, right? Click them, add it, boom, all 3 of these. Close out of that. And now when you try to add the forest, you can add it and you don't have any issues. Let me see this duct in there. Looks like it's getting an error. Okay. All right, there, I didn't get an error this time. All right, I'm gonna do the same thing with this one. All right, so I'm adding the second one here. Oh, it's working. We'll go ahead and take this command here. Just add this to our notes. All right, cool. Up here, minimize that. All right, looks good. And this one has to do for this last one. Change domain. Okay. Oh. All right, cool. So that's done. Now we'll click View, Advanced Features. I might have to refresh this. Right click it. Refresh it. Advanced features here. And now we can actually query the domain. It's all working out. Let's open this up over here. And we can actually start seeing information. they go into people, consulting. All right, you can see the users of the consulting group there. Any of these filters will allow us to review more of their properties and attributes. We'll also see what groups they are members of. Click on this person here. Click properties. Click members of. I can see this information here. Now, there's things like BloodHound that will do this automatically, but this is just how you do it manually. And there's other things like PowerView. You can also do this through PowerShell, which is a lot better in some cases. Right, so we get a list of servers here, and the benefit of the GUI is if you know exactly what you're looking for. Like if I were looking for domain admins, then I can go to that and I can actually look up the IT here, and I can see the users of IT, and I can start looking at which ones might have domain admins, right? Although I'd highly recommend you just use something like BloodHound, as we'll learn later how to do that. But this person has internet access, domain user, but we're looking for domain admins, right? So, all right, great. Let's see what else we have here. How many computer objects are part of the server OU? So if we go to servers, there's 2 objects here. So you can put 2 for that. How many computer objects are part of the workstation OU? Let's go to the workstation OU. That's it right there. How many departments, organization units does this organization consist of? Click on the properties. Oh, how many departments, organizational units does this organization consist of? I think I'm looking at the wrong one. 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's how many OUs there are under people. How many admin tiers does this organization have? Tiers. It says 3. Let me look at the hint here. Look under the admin OU or tier OU. Okay, admin OU. It's probably under users. Users. Like there should be an admin OU though, so we'll go to groups. See if they have an admin. Here we go. Tier 0 admin, tier 1, tier 2. All right, okay. All right, so you have all these right here. What is the value of the flag stored in the description attribute of TO green account? Let's look for that account. So go to users, probably find that user. And it's TO, so it's gonna be at the bottom. All right, so I don't see him here, so he's probably somewhere else. And we search some of these. All right, let's try this instead. So we'll just go right click, find, and we'll type in the name. And here's the user. And you can see in the description, they provided the flag there. So you can click on it here. And then here in the description is the flag. And you can just put that there. All right, so next we'll move on to task 4, enumerating through the command prompts. So the command prompt, of course, has a lot of tools you can use, a lot of commands you can use to find out the net users of the domain, the groups, like we just did through rsat, and then that accounts the domain. Again, the policies, which you can also see with sysvol. All right, so apart from the domain user groups, what other groups is Aaron.Harris account member of? Is the guest account active? Okay, so let's go ahead and start answering some of these questions. So what we'll do is we'll just use what we did earlier, except instead of running the MMC, what we'll do is we will run another CMD. All right, so here, CMD, and it's asked for the password, which this is more of a learning moment. It's not something that you really need to do. So right click and then put in my password. It's saying the password is incorrect, so I maybe need to stop right clicking and start doing this differently. So I'll just type it in. Oh, what? Okay, remove that because that's not what I wanted. All right, run it again, and I'll type it in. Just remember when you run the command that you run it with the run as the username, and then you put the password and make sure to remove the net only, remove that. All right, so it won't work if you do that. All right, cool. So now we'll use net-user domain, and we get all the users in the domain. Net-user .marshall, and it's asking about a specific person here. So this is about Aaron.Harris. So let's go ahead and pull up Aaron.Harris so we can see information on him. Oh, I forgot to do domain after that. And so it's saying to query this domain that we're currently using. Let me try this again because it's not working for me. Oh, I didn't do net-user. Okay, that's why. Okay. It's not liking the option that I just put in there. That. And there we go. I'm also going to put these commands in the description. So I'm going to copy these over to my notepad. And they're just going to go here in the description. There. That's not what I wanted. All right, so it's asking us here. Okay, so we get some basic information about this user and group membership. So they're part of the internet access domain or internet access membership. So you can add that right there. Is the guest account active? So we can check that real quick. See if it's active. So we'll just change this to guest. All right, do that. We can see that. Last log on, never, so it's never been logged on. Doesn't seem like they're active. Let's see if we can run any other commands to determine that. Yeah, doesn't look like they're active. So we'll put nay in that one for that. Because active account shows that's not active, right? Right there. All right, so we can put nay. How many accounts are members of the tier 1 admin group? So we'll query the group. And so that for that one, we use the net group command that they give us. Group. And then what group are we querying here? This is the tier 1 admin. Okay. All right, we can see that these are the members in the tier 1 admin. There's 7 of them. So we'll put 7 in there. And what is the account lockout duration, the current policy, password policy? And to see that, we can simply just go to one of the previous users, and it should show us here. Or we might have to just query the group policy. Okay, we'll just query the group policy with the commands they provide. So net accounts /accounts/ domain. And we can see that it's set to 30 minutes for the lockout threshold. Is that what they're asking? Yep, that's it. So 30 minutes. So put 30 in for that. And next we'll go look at task 5, enumeration through PowerShell, which is going to be the same thing, except a lot longer queries. It looks like they might be using PowerView here. They're using PowerView. All right, so PowerView here. Let me see if they actually have PowerView already installed on the computer, because that makes our job easier. Otherwise, we would just have to transfer it, which isn't a big deal. What's this PC? Sometimes they have like a tools folder here. Yeah, so they have a tools folder here. It looks like we got Sharphound. Like somebody, this is of course like a shared computer here. I don't see PowerView already installed. A lot of people have been using it. No worries, we can just transfer it then. So what we're gonna want to do is go over to our computer here and just transfer it. All right, so you can follow this link here. This will probably take you to GitHub. You can download PowerView and put it on your Kali box, or you can clone it. And once you have it, you should have it here. You'll then open up a terminal and just serve it up with Python server. And then now that we have it served up, we'll go ahead and get it over to our box over here using some commands. Let me go ahead and move this over here. And command we'll use for this. We also want to make sure we know what our IP address is. So ifconfig ad enumeration if. All right, let me try to find that one. Actually, it's ad ifconfig ad enum, or enum ad. There it is. So this is our IP address for our box. So we'll go ahead and copy this over and just put this in your notes. Throw that in the notes here. Just annotate our IP. And then what we can do here, just minimize that over here. And we'll use insertyourip to do the transfer. Insertyourip is one of my favorite tools to use for this type of stuff. We won't put in the system32. What we'll do is put more like on our desktop. Go cd c/users/ tony.holland. And then we can see we're in Tony Holland's folder. Go cd. All right, we could just run it from here. We don't have to run it from the desktop. All right, next. And I'll zoom in a little bit. So I know some people are like, I can't see the screen, it's too small. So we'll just zoom in here and hopefully you can see that. All right, so we'll do insertyourip. -f http / the IP address of our Kelly box. (6480) and the port that we're serving it up on, which is 80, and the name of the file, which in this case is PowerView. PS1. Sometimes when I'm tired, I accidentally type PowerShell instead of PowerView. All right, and then we'll run it, and it looks like it didn't find that server, so I'll have to double check my command here. All right, it looks like my PowerView isn't capitalized. I have a few variations of PowerView on my computer, so I will just correct that real quick. So when I get it from my server, I guess case matters here, so we'll just make sure that's all lowercase. Try it again. And I feel like this is gonna work, and it worked. So I know a lot of you probably haven't used insertyourip maybe. So what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and copy this into the notes in the bottom. So you can check the description and you'll be able to see the notes there. All right, so now that we have that installed, the next thing we need to do is make sure that we're using PowerShell. So we'll use PowerShell, and then we're using PowerShell. So PowerShell EP dash echo papa, all right, bypass. We're gonna bypass the PowerShell policy, which prevents us from running scripts from sources other than like Microsoft, right? So once we do that, then we're gonna do import module, because we're importing a PowerShell module. And then we're gonna do // and then we're importing PowerView. Now when I transferred it over, it's now capital P. V doesn't matter because it's Windows at this point, so it doesn't matter about the cases anymore. But if I import this, then you can see it's been imported. Now you won't receive anything back, like a screen or anything, but you'll know it's imported. All right, so we're going to see what do they want. So they want, what is the value of the title attribute of beth.nolan? So what we'll do is we will go ahead and run the command to query this person. Let me look them up here. All right, so what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to run Get-ADGroup identity beth.nolan. Let me see how they spell their name. All right, beth.nolan. What I could do here as well is I don't know if I can actually change the font size because I know some people have issues seeing it. but I'll try to make the screen a little smaller. All right, there we go. All right, so beth.nolan, and then what's the rest of this command? Server za.tryhackme.com. So now we'll go ahead and check Active Directory here, and it's saying it can't find that object, and it's null. Let's double check this here. Oh, is that a group? Oh, we're using the wrong one. So we're using Get-ADgroup. So we're probably using, right now we're querying groups, and that's why we need to use Get-ADUser. There we go. So now we can see beth.nolan's attributes in PowerShell. And so the title here is given. This is just the basic attributes. So we want all the properties so we can see everything. So let me see how we can query that real quick. All right, so we're gonna try something different here. Same commands, except for the properties. We want everything, so we're going to specify properties with the properties dash actually properties and then the wildcard, just like the asterisk symbol. So I'll copy that, put that in my notes here. So I have my notes here where I'm also inputting some of this information. So we've got the transfer command, we've got the PowerShell bypass, EP bypass, and then we got that other command that we ran, which was the install module, which was import module / PowerView PS1. There you go. All right, so you get all that information you need. Come over here, run this command, and now we have all the attributes. So the title for this user is going to be senior. That's what we're looking for. See if we can find it. Senior, right here, title. Found it. There it is. All right, so next, what is the value of the distinguished name attribute of Annie Manning? Easy. Go here. And let me see if this distinguished name comes up. All right, so we can run one of those shorter commands and not pull up all the attributes. I think we should be able to pull up the distinguished attribute. Kind of helps when I'm looking at it. So now we have this command here. Type this person's name in. Manning. And let's see. Okay. Distinguished name. So the distinguished name is right here. We got the CN, common name, OU marketing, OU people, DCs, EA, tryhackme.com. All right, so we can input that in for the next one. And so what is the tier 2 admin group? When was the tier 2 admin group created? Okay, easy. So let's see here, so tier 2 admin group. We're going to be querying groups this time, so we can actually, let me check to see if my time's up. My time might be up. Oof. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and continue with this lab. I just had to restart everything and run the initial config. So one thing I'm going to do as well is just grab my new credentials, being that I just have to restart my whole lab. So let me still have Power View being served up right here. Got my Python server running. And so this should be pretty quick. All right, I'm going to click this expand button. It's going to expand it out for me. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move this down, open up the command prompt. And we'll actually, I just love working in the command prompts, but the one thing I love about the command prompts is you can always just type PowerShell and start working in PowerShell, you know. All right, so next we'll go ahead and run the insertyourip command, which should be insertyourip. And I'll just I actually have the command stored right here, so I'll just run that, copy it over, just delete this. Commands are in the description. If you can't see this, you're having issues seeing this because it's too small or something like that. All right, so that's good. Run it, and it's grabbing the file. All right, cool. And next we'll do is dir. We can see the file is right there. And I've done this so many times, I have it memorized and like what you need to do. So you need to run PowerShell EP as an echo pop-up bypass. But it's always good to see it again. So bypass, and then after you run PowerShell EP bypass, you then go to PowerShell, or actually import module. Power view, PS1. Right, and it's imported. And next, what we'll do is let me just check who am I. Should be rachael.atkinson. Okay. All right. So moving forward, we have a few flags we have not found yet. So let me go ahead and scroll down here. Let's exit that out. So it's asking, what was the tier 2 admin group called? When was tier 2 admin group created? I don't know what it's called. All right, cool. So what we'll do is we'll run the commands to see the details of that group. And we're looking for this one right here to enumerate the group. Get-ADgroup. And unlike Linux, the capitalization doesn't matter. But what does matter is the group name. So what's the group name here? Tier 2 admins. All right, here we can see some details. It doesn't show all the properties, so I'll just see if I can do the whole properties. The asterisks. And then now we can see all the property values there. And so it's asking when was it last modified? Or when was it created? To 24 at 10:04, so should be here. There we go. Created. See, it's got that right there. Created. So now that we know that, we're doing some operations. We'll grab that command. We'll put that into the description. All right. What is the value of the SID attribute of the enterprise admin group? So easy. Just take this command that we just ran and run it against the enterprise admin group. SID is going to be right here. This is the SID of the service set identifier of the group. And so what you can do is you can just go ahead and enter that here. Which container is used to store deleted AD objects? All right, so deleted objects. Which container is used to store? I'm gonna have to look at the hint for how I found that. Get AD domain and review information. Okay. Get AD domain. If we run that, we'll see a deleted CN. I'm just trying to look at the CNs to see which one says that. Oh, here we go. Delete object container. This is the CN for it. So you copy this, right? And then you'll find it. So what I'll do is I'll copy this command and I'll just enter it here for you to run and get the flag, understanding what you're doing, right? So you can just enter that here. And I mean, someone can always pause this and just type it in, but really defeats the purpose. You're trying to learn here, right? So let's go through the motions, you know. All right, so next we got task 6, enumeration through BloodHound. And let's see if we have any actual exploits we're gonna run here. So this is all enumeration, great stuff. So we're gonna have to get Sharphound over, and then once we get Sharphound, then we can go ahead and gather the details. So let's make sure we're serving it up so we can get it Sharphound on this computer. So I'm gonna go over here, check to see my directory. I don't have Sharphound here, so I'll have to add it here. Back one, and BloodHound here. Oof, that's not it. Okay, let's see if I have it here. Nope. All right. All right. So let me try finding it. Here's BloodHound, and so you can download. They provide you all the information you need here, but you can download BloodHound, right? And you have to just git clone it. I'm trying to see if they give you the information here, but yeah. So if you come here, click here, this BloodHound, right? Click here, copy this, boom, come over here, and then just git clone, right? Type in or just paste over the IP address. You'll get clone. You'll see this folder. You'll download this folder here, and then you'll look inside the folder because the folder has Sharphound in it. And if I look for Sharphound, it's right here. So I'll just copy this. And I'm kind of lazy right now. I don't feel like having to open up another Python server from there. So I'll just throw the Python server in directory that I'm serving up right now for PowerView. I'll just dump it in here. All right, and then I can use my insertyourip command to then grab Sharphound and run it. So we gotta make this a little larger. Okay. All right, so we'll just make this a little larger. It's hard working within little text. So just bear with me here. I'm gonna cycle through my history to find the command that I used for the insertyourip. I'm going to make this smaller because some people say the screen's too big, but there it is right there. And we're just gonna rename this Sharphound. I don't know what the case looks like. There's uppercase SH. Okay. Sharphound. We'll out it as the same case. All right, press enter. It's gonna copy it over, and it's saying, oh, it's an exe by the way, so I'm gonna make sure it's exe. Looks like it's doing something. Got it. All right, so now that we got it, we'll come over here, grab this, throw this in the description, come over here, dir it. All right, we got Sharphound there, and then let me pull up my trusty little commands for Sharphounds because I don't remember them off the top of my head. All right. Let me go to my notes from yesterday. Okay. Sharphound, what you're gonna want to do is just run it. You just run it and it just does its thing. So backslash Sharphound and exe. All right, so as you see, it's gathering all the information we need. It's gonna out it into a zip file. So we'll wait for that to happen. While that's working, I'm gonna show you how you can install BloodHound. Right. So Sharphound, it's a executable or Python script. They even have an Azure version of it, which is really cool for cloud environments. So if you have that hybrid real world, you have on-prem and hybrid, but Sharphound will gather all the information. Like we just did that manually, but it'll do it automatically. And then it'll put it into a zip, and then we'll ingest that into BloodHound, and BloodHound's the GUI, right? So let me show you what that looks like when you're actually installing BloodHound. So to install BloodHound, it's actually really simple. So there's a few there's only one prereq, and that's going to be that you start up your Neo4j, and if you don't have Neo4j installed, it's pretty easy to install. So you just type in Neo4j, you'll see I have it installed, but you have to run it as sudo. So Neo4j, right? And so if I run Neo4j, you can see that I have it installed. But if you don't, it'll ask you if you want to install it. Just say you want to install it. Done. Easy. That's how easy it is to install it, right? All right, so we go sudo Neo4j console, and this will load it up. It's like a database that BloodHound relies on. And just open up another terminal. All right, we'll leave that there. And this next terminal, you're gonna type in BloodHound. And if you don't have BloodHound, you type BloodHound, install it if you don't have it. So, it's funny. All right, so then you put in your password for Neo4j. And if you don't have one set, the default is Neo4j, Neo4j. So you put Neo4j, Neo4j, like I'm about to put Neo4j for the username. It's a default. And then your password, you have to actually set one. If it's your first time logging in, it'll ask you to set one, right? To get signed in, say success. And I was doing some stuff yesterday, so that's going to be an issue, right? Only because I have to clear my database. So I'm going to make this a little larger because you want to see everything, right? So yesterday I was doing some stuff here, but I'm going to go here. I'm going to scroll down all the way, and then it gives you this option here to clear the database. So clear the database. Clear the database. All right, now it's clear. So now I can import data into it, and I'll make this really large. I know we want to make sure we see everything. So we go here.
right, and then breakdown. This is where you do your queries. This is where you import your data. So I'm gonna upload data. Once I get it over. Right now we don't have it over, so we need to get this over here. If it does, so sudo systemmctl start sh. All right. All right, so that started. So now create a temp directory. Oh, there's already a temp directory, I think. There should be a temp directory here. All right, so we're in the temp directory. Go here. Go here. cp -r. File. That out. There's the name of the file here. The IP address of my Kelly box. I get access denied. Where we want it to go. It's not. It's registering. Type. All right, looks like it transferred. All right, perfect. Oh, all right, so if you need to do this, I will put the command here in description. I'm surprised that it worked. And I'm gonna add that to my cherry tree notes because I don't want to have to do this again. All right, so once you finish doing that, let me grab this command too. Then go ahead and go over to your Kelly machine. Check your temp directory. Actually, that last one has the temp directory on it, I believe. Yep, here we go. So temp directory, we'll check to see if it's in there. And it is, it's right there. Be careful with the temp directory because your temp directory is like flushed every so often. So it's right here. We'll have to transfer it from the temp directory to my regular directory. So I'm gonna expand that so you can see it. We'll put this in pen 200, BloodHound, we'll just dump it in here. So I'll just add another folder here. And I mean, you could do this through the command line, but I just like doing it this way. So temp, where's the temp? There it is. And where's the BloodHound file? The BloodHound is right here. All right, so grab this over here. There it is. Now we have BloodHound open. Go ahead and use BloodHound. Let's see if did I close it? I thought it was open. Okay, no worries. Open it again.
it is. All right, so next with BloodHound open, we'll import the data. No, not import graph, upload data. I'll go to BloodHound folder. No, that's not it. Go to pin 200, BloodHound, and it's this first one. So I'll click open here. I gotta expand this out. Click open here. See, it's uploading the data. Give that a minute. So I'll come over here, scroll down, enumeration through BloodHound. And okay, what command can be used to execute Sharphound.exe and request that it recovers session information only from za.tryhackme.com without touching the other domain controllers? All right, so use this command here. I guess that'll cause you to do some research. I don't feel like you would know that command straight up from there. So yeah. Close out some of these notes I have open. And apart from KRBT account, how many other accounts are potentially Kuber roastable? So let's see what the BloodHound says here. Click here. And if we go here, I think there's a section for Kuber roastable. Find Kuber roastable members. List of all Kuber roastable accounts. So if I click that, you can see I have a few here that are listed. There's about 4 of them. So there's your answer, all 4 of these, right? So this one, 4. How many machines do members of the tier 1 admin groups have administrator access to? So okay, it's kind of here. Let me just type that in here. Tier 1 admins, click on them here. All right, get some information on them. The answer here should be 2. Okay, according to this write-up here, okay, according to this write-up, it should be 2. But for some reason, mine doesn't show that. I don't know if maybe Sharphound just didn't load properly, but when we're looking at that, it should show 2. Let me click here. So anyhow, we'll move on. We'll move on to the tier 2 admins. Okay, tier 2 admins, click here. It's asking how many users are in the group. So if we go to node information, group members, 15, right there, 15, all 15 of these users. All right, so that was it, guys. That was it. Once you finish that, go to the conclusion, and you should be done. You should see confetti raining on you. Hope you enjoy this video. Plan to make more in our preparation for OSCP, EJPT, EZPPT, or whatever you're going for these days. All right, so if you want to join me on my journey, go ahead and sub and like this video. All right, I'll see you next time. Danny out.